this one, the first showing of these guys on LAN, and they did give that credit to Keto. They think that's why maybe tabseN is kind of popping off here. That's why he's been shining too, just like Dexter. And it's kind of beautiful that we get both of them sitting in the center line.
It really resonates with me when they talked about how Keto freeing up tabseN from his past responsibilities allows him to play in a way that he wants. But we are into the match, folks. Let's make some noise for map 1 Mirage.
Big to the T side, utility on tabseN. Flash for Tizian, and csgo's gonna go ahead and eat a little bit of damage. Not too bad. Still Big, already able to get themselves out from ramp. There's no challenge here whatsoever. Renegades gonna start going for their peaks, and Int is able to nab the first body, but he is very much pinned into that firebox. So Malta, he's the one that's dancing left and right here. What a stalemate we're having in this moment on the site. tabseN's response, that's the headshot versus Malta. Now Int goes one in. He's kind of got to. He's trying to set up Dexter, who they may not realize has tucked himself behind the boxes, but there's low HP all over the board. This is a hell of a pistol, so tight, but it all slows down again. It's like everything is here. It's supposed to implode. This bomb site's just supposed to have action, but silence blankets the server, and that's only gonna make Renegades nervous.
They should be. Dexter actually starts to move out into position, taking control now of Underbalk as they re-aggress, finding the perfect moment of opportunity. Dexter will also have a free kill to his name, potentially head pops right in front of him, and another. As a second bullet's used to take him out, Xantares now left in a 1v2 versus a 9 and 8 HP player. If they play headshot angles, they become a difficult target.
He sticks this, and the peek from Hatch is enough to take him down. Oh, for a moment it looked like maybe he'd fake it, anticipate that peek, drop a body, but no sir. Renegades, they will take their pistol.
And from the beginning of the round, they have a great setup. They have the 4 players on the A site. They have 3 right side sites, so that means they'd be within smokes if they came. Those smokes did not even come. Big decided they go for a walkout right out the gate, and there was no cause for rotation, no suspicion about the thought that it might be a B play, and instead they just played right into Renegade's hands. They still come out with a few favorable trades, then pulling out of the site and then coming back in almost cost them, but it's kind of good that Renegades won that round because they had the correct read.
Yeah. From the get-go. It was just that hesitation from Big that maybe put things into question. But crisp USP headshots is how they got into this finals. Gotta give a tip of the hat to Renegades in that regards. Malta looking for somebody to bag here on Catwalk. Ooh, that frag grenade. Xantares lucky to get a nade off of his own. 5 health, all that he has left over. They've taken a decent amount of map control here. They've gotten their footing up Catwalk. When that smoke fades on connector, maybe it opens a line of sight for the scout.
Very nice for the pistols right now. There's no one in window watching that cat push. So we've got CPL control for the T's. They've started to kind of swing back, get into the B halls, and collect up. They've got one player as well, Keto, who's hanging back at A, who doesn't have the utility to make presence, but still has the body. There it is, actually, his one smoke comes over into the front of connector. This is just going to assist in tabseN if he wants to go out. The 3 players, joined by Keto now, will attempt to force their way into Hats.
There it is. Oh, man, the MP9 mowdown. Doesn't even see the other players. He has an inkling as to where they are. And he continues the spray for the 3-piece. Nicely done here. That threat just evaporates, but here comes Keto with a big D. Oh, second, and he's got a teammate on the site. That teammate, with a lot to do, tabseN at bat, drops another body, but no more. Renegades convert with 3 members dying.
Kind of nice they got that kill. And that's just what happens versus the MP9 if you shoot it. If you shoot at the first target, you get a kill. You're just spraying as many bullets as you can. All of the residual damage from earlier on in the round paid off, as you saw from csgo. Did something like 90 plus damage to those 2. But Keto comes through, gets a couple of deagles. That's nice. It just not, it's more so, it's less so him collecting kill reward and more so making them rebuy into this round where they know they're going up against Glocks. There are 2 sets of utility here for Big. They're setting up for the A hit. 3 out of halls. I like this. Nice and close to the bomb plant zone, but Int, excuse me, is in the A ramp, very close to the action. He's not going to get blinded.
That utility be called, thrown over, so we know he's fighting off versus a couple of players here, and that's such a substantial grenade outside of Palace. I mean, it just rips any hopes at desperately jumping that bomb into the site itself. I mean, Big, they knew But the odds were against them, Launders, but they were hoping for something, and they get absolutely nothing.
We can agree that Renegades are the hardest opponent so far, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would say so.
They've shown that they've just been so good. This is the proper final test. It should be the hardest match, and I think it is. And the circumstances for Renegades, I mean, there's a little bit more pressure now that they're in the finals, but we still see they're the same team.
Remember, of course, the only reason Renegades were not through the group 2-0 was because they lost versus Big on Nuke. But that map not in this series, so I do not feel comfortable if I am Big. I don't bank on that BO1. Having watched Renegades throughout the weekend, you know they have to respect them here. So let's go into the gun rounds.
Something interesting about the movement of the CTs is we see a lot of mid-presence from the CT players. We've got someone patrolling that sicko between the window, jungle, and connector. In the previous anti-eco, didn't even bother spotting off cat from window. Now they're also giving it up. Almost a full passive setup besides the A ramp push. So this can lure Big into the thought that it might be a smart move to go ahead and take up mid. And they might be correct about that. That's technically free map control. But certainly Renegades are prepared for this. It's for some reason in their playbook to avoid the early aggression, the early contact out the window in connector and on cat. We'll see if the honeypot works. But if we look at the setup on the minimap, Dexter is in the dangerous spot.
Sicko loses more than half HP. Smoke grenade goes down on the catwalk. That's one of the last few pieces of utility here for Big. You can see Malta on the back of that B bomb site just peering down cat. Every once in a while, he has hats to do the exact same. Drawing out the molly from Apps isn't going to burn him into the open, but he offers himself forward, and just like that, the B site falls. But a fast hit from Dexter, not going to be good for more than one. Man advantage for Big as bomb goes down. They're playing with a Scouts and an MP9, and that could be enough. Sicko mode. So far, 5-1, 3 assists on the board as well, and Ince has all this HP, so he's gonna close that distance. Big, they're just trying to hold on to the corners here. They're allowing Renegades to get close, and then the timing works for him, but is the trade able? Sicko? No! Tizian takes 2 and gets Big on the board.
Tizian more than once has been the man of the hour on Overpass. That 1v3, he's been great on the rifle play, great in the clutch. Specifically there, he shows his prowess even more. Fantastic round by him. Overall, the entries into the B site on top of that helped out quite a bit. Dexter had a fantastic flank. It was nice and fast. He got out of connector, which is a much scarier job than most people will give you credit for, and got up on the cat flank just as they turned the corner. He had 2 teammates in B who needed to get kills and couldn't do that. That's where the round fails for the Renegades. You've got to contribute on a frag basis as well as positionally. Sicko with a fantastic upward flick on the cat. Searson is out of the round, but they are still in it. Xantares is now low after getting a trade for himself. The Renegades are way up though. Dexter gets another kill.
Awesome, bouncing right back. Leaving on just Xantares, who obviously has nothing to say in this round. Stellar rifle work in Renegades. Not going to make this easy for Big. An immediate response, Launders, with their rebuy. So all things considered, they're just shaking off the previous round. They know they walked into that with Scouts and MP9s. This time, easy peasy.
Yeah, that's a good point. And they did have, once again, the correct setup. Having 2 people in B and a fast rotate to B, that's enough to hold the site. They couldn't do it because they couldn't frag. And that round, they do a similar setup where they kind of pull the goalie on mid, and they overstack towards A, and they feel very confident if Big want to give them attention in the connector. So now Big, it seems like they might try to prove themselves a little bit on the B side. They don't have much money to work with, so it's just going to be an eco. They're just going to throw themselves out here with a couple of flashes and hope for the best.
Ooh, you see his bodies. Puts the Molotov down in case they jump out the windowsill, but Xantares. Great deagle headshot, AUG spray, substantial damage, but Xantares has gotten his hands on a rifle, and as has Tabson. Bomb down, and a potential retake here. 2 kits, utility, but that valuable op launders. You know they have to be calculating potential losses.
It's not fun exiting out of market into the B side. We know that much. Also another warning sign from Keto.
Save call.
Yeah, that's it. They pull it back. Big pick up a round. Easily, too. Just for the initial 2 frags. Fantastic entry from Xantares with the deagle. And that's enough to shy them away. It just gets too hard on the B side. So this is a round that Big did not expect to win. They're actually coming into this with money left over. So they're going to have tons of money to help them operate a comeback if that is the case. I'd say B is what they're thinking about the most. If they want to default into a round right now, I think they can maybe lure Renegades into thinking it's going to be some type of A play. But then I think ultimately they want to try to avoid that unless they get early entries, or easy entries, I should say.
What's this rebuy look like? Not too shabby. It's going to have all the utility they could hope for. Lacking one gun. Patience here from Big, anticipating maybe some mid-aggression, but Renegades don't seem too desperate.
Yeah, we're getting an alternative look. csgo coming out to actually jump on Cat, misses the jump. We don't have to talk about that, but then goes to connector, spots mid. Either way, he was supposed to have eyes on it.
It's a big frag from Dexter. That cuts off the entirety of what Big had on the opposite side of the map, so it is very much just 4 members here in on A. Santares again at the forefront, sees the shadow of the player on default and takes him down. Smoke to go up and over. Dexter gonna be trying to play in front of it. He eats a bit of a flash, but at least Palace is still countered, so he is just honed in on ramp, and he sees them slightly. Nobody yet presenting themselves, and when finally they commit, he goes down immediately. But it's a 3v3 turn 2. Keto could very well be making the difference, but Malta, he's just thrown himself into the site, limited by the deagle from the get-go, starts to fire it off, but already tabseN's past him. 2 more members survive there. You can see it. The moment that Keto was able to get into the action from Palace, that A site fell apart.
That was big. Yeah, Dexter wanted to come up with those kills. The rotate, it seemed like when they killed Tizian, when Dexter got that name tag, it was a huge read. They had everybody shift over slightly towards A. Then I think they mentally thought it might have been an over-adjustment. They slowed down a bit. By that time, Big had started to bully their way into the site, and they did such a good job with the 2 men that were kind of there on full-time duty and ended up getting those kills.
Mac-10 just so confident in this moment, knowing that it's a flat Renegades in this round. Mushed into the dirt, USP's desperate for something, and if they can keep 5 members alive, this is a really sick chance for Big to rebound early.
So far, more impressed with Big's fragging potential than anything else. Sometimes Renegades have great reads on the situation. They're stacking the right sides correctly. They're not over-rotating when they don't need to. But still, Big are able to come up with a lot of key frags in unfavorable spots. And because they get the rounds in those spots, the confidence starts to slip away from the Renegades.
Yeah, confidence is slipping away, but not the momentum. We're still pretty even here. Score considered 2, but wow, the aggression coming out of Big. Even despite this being a full-fledged buy, they decide to charge inwards. Tizian, clearing the man out from Balk, has this A site open, but it's Searson who goes one better. Over the top of stairs, taking a man advantage, putting csgo's op into such an awkward spot, he'll find no line of sight as of yet, but with 2 Ts pinned behind fire, he could use the stairs to take them down. The molly comes out, and that's gonna confirm they're definitely still in there.
Oh, so much damage.
That's gotta hurt. All the while, Searson can just hold this cross, and sure enough, that's all it's gonna take. They've convinced Renegades to save yet again.
Yeah, their hopes fade away. They get out of there, and Big do a good job in the post plant, once again shying away the opposition at minimal cost. There on the A site are once again able to always get 1 person without that person getting a kill. In this situation, I believe Malta was the first one to die, or the first one. I don't know if he was the one, sorry, I can't remember if he was the first one to die, but he came up short, obviously, and that was a big problem. They're doing a really good job on the entries. Now also at A, you can kind of add that on to their successful B plays as well. They take a small lead. csgo's gonna pick up the op or he's gonna hold on to the op. They're not gonna reinvest behind it.
I think Big are setting quite the tempo so far in this Mirage game. We've had them charging up Catwalk on the anti-ecos, but to just run out ramp that aggressively versus full-blown buys, it's a scary sight. I mean, we've been praising Renegades as one of the teams who have been setting aggressive paces. How they dismantled Cloud9, but here we go. 1 op, 1 M4 Mohan, and already they're in this 5v3. Each of those weapons has at least started this off. Damn, Big. Gonna have to play off the back foot. A deagle shot right through the wall. Further up damage, but Tizian does at least curb off that M4. Malta is able to procure it, but it's covered. And now Zantares can take the place of the weapon, combining with his teammates in apps. and looking to just take this B site entirely. What a bounce back.
Yeah, Zentora's been such a key player. He's always coming in for that second kill. It's always like a miraculous headshot. He's wasting no time. But it looks like the retake might still be on. They're just testing the waters. They want to see if a free kill comes. If not, they'll obviously turn tail, hang on to the op, which is such an important weapon. And it looks like Ince will be the only one to stick around, see what he can do. Tizian obviously quite low. It's understood that Tizian gets away with murder.
Yeah, all things.
That second kill, yeah.
It starts off, when you save those two weapons, I mean, this round began exactly how they could have hoped for. Op on one side of the map, M4 the other, each get a pick. How do you force Big into a 3 versus 5 and not maintain those guns? Well, it's Tizian. He takes all this deagle damage to the edges of the walls, drops the M4, clearly sets those CTs scrambling to pick it back up and uses a nade of all things to create that space for Xantares.
A few things we like from Big, they're fragging. They're not taking too much time. They're making, and they've opened up a lot of options on the map. They're also limiting, I just think, yeah, they're just limiting like Renegades on these site holds even when they pick the correct sites. We'll see if that happens one more time. Now we've got a lot of presence towards mid with the CTs. They have started to scurry around underpass. We know that in the past, Dexter has gotten a kill there. That has been somewhat instrumental. I don't think it was actually that helped them conclude the round, per se. But now Searson's also made his way up the A ramp. They're taking a lot of liberties here. That's a op shot miss just by a minutia, but it cost them a lot.
Xantares with that smoke is just going to use it to bail out. Nobody was really there giving them trades. I thought maybe Sicko with his op peeks over stairs and that's where Searson falls from, but nope. A near miss costs him. Dexter, gotta be cautious as they're about to boost right in. Oh, and he can't best Tizian. Again, Tizian making space when they're on the back foot. Trying to clamber back into a round where Renegades had an edge. Of course, not nearly over. Bomb doubles back through Palace with a player by his side. But I mean, Tizian, he's here to murder any rotations.